ever looked at the rubble of your life and thought, how could anything good come from this? If that's you, lean in, because ashes are not the end of your story. Ashes are actually the soil where beauty begins to grow and where your purpose is being processed. Welcome back to the iLEAD Misti Blue Podcast. I'm Misty Green. This is Beauty for Ashes, Purpose in the Pain, a series that explores the lives of Leah, Joseph, Ruth, David, and Esther. Each of these individuals faced grief, betrayal, rejection, and loss. Yet they discovered through these processes that God was shaping purpose right in the middle of their ashes, right in the middle of their adversity. Their stories remind us that even in heartbreak and in disappointment, God is still writing beauty and purpose into our own story, using the very process to prepare us for what He has planned. Right from the start, here are 3 truths that will carry you through every episode of this series. Number 1, do not shrink for what is already yours. If it asks you to betray yourself, it's not from God. God already knows what He has predestined for your life. Your name is on it. What belongs to you will meet you in authenticity. Number 2, name the ashes. Be honest about what's been lost. Grief isn't weakness, it's acknowledgement. God can only redeem what we release, but we have to acknowledge it so that we can release it. And number 3, really see and track restoration in motion. Journal the small wins. Talk about them. Talk about the unexpected moments of truth. Share them with the people who arrive right on time. See, that's restoration at work. And when we reach the conclusion of this series, you'll hear how all these stories converge on a single truth, that your purpose is the path to your purpose. Like grain on the threshing floor, God uses the sifting, the shaking and separating to prepare you. The tools He uses on you are chosen with precision because your calling is unique to you. Shortcuts only delay the harvest, and the pain you feel is never proof of abandonment. It's proof of preparation for the oil. In the next few episodes, here's what you'll discover. While restoration isn't about rewinding life, but revealing what's next, how rejection, betrayal, grief, and even failure don't cancel purpose. They prepare it. And 3 ways you can start to recognize restoration already unfolding in your own life. Because you see, restoration, it doesn't recycle your old life. It builds something new. In episode 1, we'll dive into the story of Leah. Leah was not chosen, but Leah was purposed. Though not chosen by man, she was still called by God. Leah lived her life in the shadow of her sister Rachel, bartered into marriage and unloved by Jacob. Constantly, Leah was overlooked. That was her ash, rejection and invisibility. But God saw Leah, and through her came Judah, the line that would lead to Jesus. See, Leah's story whispers to every overlooked soul. Being rejected by man doesn't mean you're rejected by God. In episode 2, we'll discuss Joseph. Joseph was betrayed, but elevated. Joseph's brothers betrayed him, selling him into slavery. Later, he was falsely accused and forgotten in prison. That was Joseph's ash, betrayal, false accusation, and continual delay. Time and time again, he experienced delay and adversity. But in God's timing, Joseph was elevated to second in command, saving nations in famine. His story shouts, what others meant for evil, God can turn for good. And those who betray you will see what they meant for harm turned into the story of your purpose. In episode 3, we're going to move through the story of Ruth. Ruth went from widow to redeemed. Ruth buried her husband, left her homeland, and she clung to Naomi in grief. That was Ruth's ash, widowhood, poverty, and displacement. But God's beauty met her in a barley field through Boaz, her redeemer. From her line came who? King David and Jesus. Her story sings faithfulness in the ashes can lead to legacy in the beauty. In episode 4, we'll look at David and his purpose in failure. David was overlooked as a shepherd, hunted by Saul, and later David fell into adultery and murder. That was David's ash, rejection, fear, and moral failure. Yet God restored him. God called him a man after his own heart, and God established his throne forever. David's story declares failure is not final and that God's grace is greater. In episode 5, we'll follow the journey of Esther, who was positioned through loss. Esther was orphaned. She was displaced and forced to hide her identity. That was Esther's ash, loss, fear, and risk. But she stepped into courage for such a time as this, and Esther saved her people. Her story proclaims your ashes can be the very stage of your assignment. Isaiah 61:3 says, "He will give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness." See, Joseph didn't get back his coat of many colors. No, he received a kingdom. And Leah, overlooked and unwanted, wasn't given the love she longed for, yet she was chosen to carry the very lineage of Jesus. And David just didn't regain his lost innocence. He received restoration and position. Let's talk about Esther. Esther didn't return to the childhood she lost. She received a crown for her people's deliverance. An entire people benefited from Esther's purpose. And Ruth didn't reclaim her first husband. That was her loss. He was gone. She was grafted into the greatest redemption story of all time. Restoration doesn't rewind. Restoration reveals. And just as grain is threshed and sifted before it becomes bread, your own life may go through seasons of shaking, seasons that feel unbearable. That's the pressing. That's the pressing that is preparing the oil of what is purposed. That sifting is never wasted. It's difficult. It's hard to bear through, but it's never wasted. It separates what cannot stay so that your purpose can rise. As you take in these stories of beauty rising from ashes, hold on to the ways that restoration is already at work in your own life. And remember that what God has for you will never require you to diminish. It will never diminish who you are. Be brave enough to name the losses and acknowledge the grief. He redeems what you are willing to release. And watch the quiet signs of renewal, the small wins, the perfectly timed encouragement, the joy that shows up when you least expect it. These are the markers that your process is shaping your purpose. If you're standing in the ashes of betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment, loss, uncertainty, or even failure, pause and take a deep breath, a steady, deep breath. Those ashes are not wasted. They are the very fertilizer for what's about to bloom. What is meant for you will never make you shrink or demand that you betray yourself. It will meet you right where you are in the raw honesty of your authenticity. So stop clinging to the ashes when beauty is already trying to break through. Because in the end, as you'll hear in this series finale, your process is the very path to your purpose. Every shake, every sift, every season of pain is preparation for the beauty that God already has planned for you. Trust the process. Subscribe and follow to the iLEAD Misti Blue Podcast and the Misti Blue YouTube channel to journey with me through the series Beauty for Ashes, Purpose in the Pain. And share this with a friend who needs the reminder ashes are never the end of your story. With God, they're the soil of beauty. And be sure to subscribe and follow so you never miss an episode.